How's it going? This time on Joe Root's Hillbilly Garage and Modification Shop, we're going to take a look at this Harbor Freight lawnmower replacement engine that I put on a wood splitter about 2 years ago. And we'll go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. It replaced a 6 horsepower I think it was a Briggs & Stratton engine that was on here, and that thing just, it worked a long time and it finally rattled itself apart. Long story short, we had to replace it right away. We were in the middle of a project and had to remove some wood, big chunks from a lot, and had to get an engine on this and get it replaced. So we went to Harbor Freight. This engine was about $120. I think they're $119 right now. 173cc Predator, it's made for a lawnmower. It's a lawnmower replacement engine. Well, we put it on a wood splitter. It's a I think it's rated at 5.5 horsepower. So it's less than this wood splitter had on it originally, but we went with it and it has worked out ever since. I've had a couple little hiccups along the way, but overall it hasn't been too bad. I'll bring you up close and we'll take a look at it. When I changed this engine out, this particular log splitter is belt driven. There's a pulley down here under the hydraulic pump, and then there's a pulley right under the motor. The only thing, the other motor had a different size pulley, actually a different size shaft. So I bought the same size pulley for this size shaft. I think this is a 7/8 shaft, or maybe the other one was an inch. I'm not sure. Can't quite remember. But anyways, I had to change the pulley. But other than that, this thing bolted right up for this particular application. So the other one was practically a lawnmower engine too. This one, there's no choke on it. You can see the primer bulb there. It primes to start. 3 or 4 pumps on that, it starts right up. Even after it's been sitting for a long time, it still starts up. This has never been a very powerful wood splitter. It's only, you can see, it's a swisher. It was only a 6 horsepower before, so when it hits a tight spot or a tough spot, it has like a second gear where it gears down. It goes a little bit slower and it powers on through. It's not the biggest, baddest splitter, but we heat a 2,500 square foot home with strictly wood. I shouldn't say strictly wood. We use some electric heat too, as a supplement. But anyways, I'll show you what I had to do. There are a couple modifications I had to make since this is a lawnmower engine. First off, this is what I used to repair the fuel line. The fuel line from the gas tank to the carburetor, right back in here behind the linkage, it developed a small hole. It's tough to see back in there, where it rubbed from the vibration. I checked out the rest of the fuel line and it was fine. So it wasn't cracked or rotted or anything. So I just cut the line there and used that little barbed connector, put it back together, taped it up real good with some tape that's made for sealing up lines and such. Here are the 2 things I had to do to make this work as a wood splitter engine instead of a lawnmower engine. It has a brake, a flywheel brake here that stops, it goes up to the handle on a lawnmower that stops the blade from spinning. Once that handle is released, I'm sure most people have used a lawnmower in recent years that had that. It stops the blade from spinning if the handle's released for safety reasons. So I just had to wire that back together. Instead of a cable pulling it up to the handle, there's just a wire that holds that all the time. And then this is the throttle linkage that would normally go up to the handle on a lawnmower. It actually pulls out this way to give it full throttle, but it wanted to vibrate back. It won't stay there on its own. It's actually got a spring return on it. So I drilled a small hole, less than 1/8 inch, and I used a 1/8 inch sheet metal screw in here, and it sticks through just enough that when I pull this back, it locks in at full throttle. So the only problem with that is, though, there's really no kill switch on it, because normally what happens is when you let off the throttle on a lawnmower and release the engine brake, it kills, or the flywheel brake, it kills the engine. So when I want to shut this off, I move the throttle back to idle, which does not shut it down. Then I push the primer ball maybe twice, and it's enough to make the engine shut down. So if you're thinking about buying one of these Harbor Freight engines for your project, make your own call. But for me, using this has worked out better than the old-fashioned way, and we all know what that is. So anyways, I better get back to work. Let's go split some wood. I'll show you how this works.